I found this to make it super. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was like, I didn't write it.
But like last time, guys, can I please ask the guys here and sisters there, just so I can have an easier field of view, please, just to make life easier for me, if you don't mind. Do you know how to turn on and off the lights? I don't need these lights. Oh, sorry.
Like these, but it depends on how much setting you want to have. Some variations in it.
We're LMS 005, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Thank you all for coming. So today I just want to start with a few points, and then after the points, they're not written. They're just general points, and then after them, I'll start working on the actual slides. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts since last time. How did the lecture affect your thinking? What did you think about? What questions did it raise? What things did it make you think about? What things have not rested yet or settled well in your mind yet that we should tackle maybe today? This is the part where you talk. Or else it would be very unproductive.
I thought it was really helpful. It's good to have, I think it's really good to have sort of like a refreshment, because your mind, we have exams in 3 weeks, so it's like, it's good to sort of like have like some like realism.
Yes, okay.
It's good to have like some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes you need like a reminder just to realize like why you're here basically, just to reset like, and what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing basically.
Okay.
Reset, you know what I mean?
Anyone else? Thank you. No? Mesh. So let me get started, as long as we're all very polite and very quiet. Let me get started. My only fear when I give this workshop is that people leave, or hatta I leave, because this sometimes I get afflicted with this. And there's the concept in Islam of ifrat and tafrit. Ifrat is being too much into something, and tafrit is being too much away from something. But it is a risk that you can take on, that you tackle a subject, and you become, by the way, if it's too loud, just let me know, that you tackle a subject and it becomes too much in the center of your focus, and you start to leave the things that you're actually supposed to do. So today I hope, because this is the last part, I hope that we can bring this balance together, just so we make sure that things are in place. This verse, some people said it is central to understanding the approach of Dunya. وما تكونوا في شأن وما تتلو منه من قرآن ولا تعملون من عمل إلا كنا عليكم شهودا. You do not engage in any affair. 1. Write it down. Do not engage in any affair. 2. You do not read any portion of the Quran. Okay, recite it, yeah. Write it down. And 3. And you do not do anything. I will say something. The girls are always the ones that are writing. We never write and we look very bad. All of us. They always write. It's very embarrassing. Keep up, take notes. You should listen to the audiobook Second Brain. Second Brain. It's all about note taking and how important it is in our lives. Okay? They have a second brain and we have, Allah Alam, but I even have a brain. Some scholars say that, or some people say that, وَمَا تَكُونُ فِي شَأْنٍ, the everyday life. وَمَا تَتْلُ مِنْهُ مِنْ Quran, and you don't recite a proportion. When do you recite the Quran? It's either in prayer or when you're doing a type of dhikr. Any dhikr, يعني the adhkar of sabah and masa, the dhikr of the morning and of the evening, this in itself is a type of dhikr, and in it is verses of the Quran as well. وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ مِنْ عَمَلٍ, and you don't do anything or a deed. Amal is also a deed. عَمَلُ صَالِحًا, do what is good. But like these three encompass everything you do in life. In life, you are in one of these three domains. You cannot escape it. It's either you're doing your daily affairs, you're getting up, brushing your teeth, going to the bathroom, showering, putting on your clothes, buying stuff, selling stuff, etc. Or you are in a form of pure divine worship. Or you are doing a good deed, taking something out of the road, you're helping someone, you're giving someone da'wah, you're enjoying the good, forbidding the evil. Those are the states you are in and you cannot escape it. This is dunya. The problem is that we think that the latter two are for Allah and the first one is for us. We think that everything we do, we study, we buy, we sell, we go, we come, we travel, is for us and the rest is for Allah. That's not correct. Even worse is that we take the third one, which is do any good deed, and sometimes we attribute it bardu to ourselves. It's our insurance policy. I will help so I can be helped. I will give so Allah will give me one day when I need. And this is similar to in Surah Al-An'am, the chapter of the An'am or the cattle. There's a verse that says, وَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ بِزَعْمِهِمْ وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا. They said this is for Allah and this is for the other gods. Because they always did believe in Allah, but they always associated with Him. They didn't have this monotheistic way out and say that Allah is one, He doesn't need anybody else. They used to say this is for Allah and this is for us. This is what we do. We say this is for Allah and this is for us. But they used to do this with cattle, with sacrifices. We do this back with our actions. So what I'm trying to get at is here, if you have the correct intention, everything you do will be for Allah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said a beautiful hadith. I love this hadith. Because this hadith, alhamdulillah, it's a reminder of how much Allah wants to give you everything you want of good. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, and I didn't put it here, so you better write it down. إِنَّ لَكَ مَا احْتَسَبْتَ. To you is what you have calculated, or what you have asked for. Ihtisabt is a very tricky word to translate into English. It means wished for, calculated, asked for, traded, but not for the value you're supposed to get. Yani, for example, if I give you my phone to sell, and you don't give me back money, خلاص? You give me back, I tell you I'm going to give you my phone, and you give me some paperwork. Okay? This is called ihtisab, it's not called bay'ah. Because usually if I sell, I'm selling it for money. If I'm giving it for something else, it's called ihtisab. Yani I altered my motive, I want something else. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ لَكَ مَا احْتَسَبْتَ. Everything you do as a deed, you get what you altered your motive for you want. Yani you said, I'm going to fast tomorrow. In your niyyah, I'm going to fast tomorrow, not just because I want Allah to put between me and hell, I don't know how many years, as the hadith says, and because fasting is the most beloved of deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it diminishes your body completely, makes you focus, laser focus, and what's better than that is Allah rewards you, that He gives you health. Prophet said, Sumu tasihhu. Fasting, you will have health. So even that pain you feel, that's just the pain of the dead cells of your body being expiated. It doesn't mean that you're becoming less strong, unless you fast too much, that's another story. But if you say I'm going to fast because I want to feel like I'm less of a dunya person, I notice when I fast, I go on Amazon less, I watch less silly stuff, I listen more to Deen, I'm calmer, I don't fight as much, and I noticed this when I started a long time ago, and I learned that sunnah that you can fast out of Ramadan, which I never knew, a very long time ago. I noticed that I was less angry. So if people instigated me, I noticed I don't even care. Literally, I don't care. I look at them and I'm willing to laugh, and I don't know where it came from. So I started fasting with the intention of just to decrease my anger. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا تغضب. He said 3 times, do not get angry. Because anger, أوله جنون وآخره ندم. The beginning of it is being crazy. The beginning of anger is being crazy, acting crazy, and the end of it is regret. That's what anger does. So if you, in everything you do, you get up, you brush your teeth. Why do you brush your teeth? Because the Prophet ﷺ used to brush his teeth. It's good hygiene. The Prophet ﷺ used to wake up, he'd wash he'd clean his hands first, then wash out the goop from his eyes. Then he'd brush his teeth so he would smell good, take out all the bacteria. He wouldn't drink before he would brush his teeth, so that he wouldn't swallow the bacteria in his mouth, because it's not good for you. Now we know it's not good for your microbiome if you swallow the bacteria in your mouth when you wake up. If you go to the bathroom and you feel the blessing of being able to go to the bathroom, and you say the dua of Sayyidina Nuh of going to the bathroom, Alhamdulillah ta'amani wa saqani wa albani Alhamdulillah yazaqni ladhatahu wa thabbat fi jismi tuwatu saraf an yada. Alhamdulillah for the one who gave me the gift, the sustenance of food, and kept in my body the strength of the nutrients. And he kicked out all of the waste from the food, because some people, by the way, they eat but they don't digest properly. And some people digest but they don't know how to go to the bathroom. Have you ever seen someone who has large intestine cancer and they have to carry a bag all the time? They can't go to the bathroom naturally. And if you've had surgery and your stomach is not working well, you have to take laxatives to be able to go to the bathroom. So everything you do, you step out, you help someone, all of these things, if you're doing it for the right intention, it's for Allah. Even if you clean your house, you clean your room, yes. The Prophet ﷺ said, angels do not like to enter houses that are not clean or not tidy. Then why do you want the angels around you? Because if you have angels around you, you have more blessings around you, you are less likely to do something that is haram, because they do istighfar for you when they're around you. They ask Allah for forgiveness for you. Surah Ghafir. If you want to look at Surah Ghafir, look at chapter of Ghafir. This is what the angels do, it's one of their functions. ما كان نبيا أن يكون له أسرى حتى يسخن في الأرض تريدون عرض الدنيا والله يريد الآخرة والله عزيز حكيم. Never would it befit any prophet to stop the battle and take captives before he has subjugated the enemy in the battlefield. You want the materials of this earlier life, but Allah wants the hereafter, for Allah is Almighty, All-Wise. I said this the last time and I'll say it again, and when you read the Quran the next time, your next khatma, or your next completion of the Quran, regardless of how much you're able to complete the Quran, when you read the verses that Allah has documented of the Sahaba doing mistakes, etc., do not read it as, oh, yeah, this was the battle of this, and this was that, and this was... No. Allah documented the mistakes of the Sahaba. Do you understand? Allah documented the mistakes of the mothers of the believers. Yeah, in Surah Al-Tahrim, Allah says the mistakes of Sayyidah Aisha and Hafsa, but He didn't mention their names. He didn't want to embarrass them. The hadith says who they were, but the verse does not. Why did Allah do this? And why did the Sahaba have the courage to not abrogate these verses or delete them and carry on and make them mutawatir, or they will continue the chain until they reach us and we know that we have the whole Quran? This is by the way one of the biggest proofs of that the Quran has never been touched by anyone, and that's not incorrect. That you have mistakes in it. If anyone had any ill intention, they would have taken out the verses that were negative towards them or towards their family. The family of Tabbat Yada Abi Lahab wa Tab live till this day in Haram. The grandchildren go to Haram every year, they hear it in the Taraweeh. Allah has damned Abi Lahab wa Tab, and He has damned him again. His great-great-great-great-great-grandfather is being damned in the Quran. He hears it every Taraweeh, every year, yes. With his children, yes. With his wife, yes. They have not abrogated it. When you read this, you have to understand this is how the Sahaba were, and thus if the Sahaba were like this, and Allah was training them to change their mindset and change how they approach Deen, then we also have these problems. If the Sahaba were like this while the Prophet was there, we're not going to be like this. During one of the battles, the Sahaba did not want to fight. They had enough power to start taking hostages before they fight. They didn't want to fight. Thus, Allah said, this is not correct. Allah knows what's in your hearts. Before you think it, He knows what's in your heart. They want to take hostages because they want to trade them for money. They want to give them back to their families for money. Allah said no. The whole point of the battle is for them to be afraid to keep on coming to war and to keep on waging war against you. This is not trade. They have money, but they don't have courage. They love life, so they are happy to pay whatever they want to get their lives back. But they do not love dying for a purpose. You have to defend the purpose, not the money. It's a completely different perspective. But the word I want to focus on is Arab. This is a very important word, the word Arab. What they call here the materials of the early life. So a little bit less about Arab. Arab can mean worldly goods, which refers to something that is material or something that basically you can touch. Things that people seek in this life. Pleasures, it also includes things that are not material, things that are pleasureful through certain things. So when you own a car or you own a certain brand or you carry a Coach bag or whatever, forget about the bag. You feel something. You feel you belong to a certain class. It's known, research shows this, that people when they buy the Louis Vuitton or whatever, they don't buy it because it's Louis Vuitton. The quality, by the way, between it and the knockoff is not much. And if any of you have owned one, if you bought it before, it also dissipates very quickly. Yeah. But it's because it says to someone, I make this much of a range a year. You are signaling to someone that you are a certain category of people just by what you carry instead of having the conversation. Come on, you have a disease in your heart if you want to do this, but this is what these brands do, right? So you have that pleasure of feeling that you are different, regardless of the quality of the actual thing. And then temporary things. Arad is something temporary. The beauty of the Arabic language, of course, is that words relate to one another. Arad is to show. Ya'rid is to show. Arad is something that is shown. Ma'arad is a place where you show things and you leave. It's a place where you show things and you leave. You cannot leave them, you have to take them with you. So when he says you want the arad of the dunya, meaning you want the little things that you will touch momentarily and then you will have to leave them. Whether you want to or not, you will have to leave them. Nobody goes into the grave with anything. Yeah, that's how it is. Nobody goes into the grave with anything. خالص. But the question is, how are we, what I'm trying to get at is in this workshop is, when we look at the world, we should see what it is temporary. Take it, use what you need, but give it back. You know when you go to the library, or you go to a stationery, it's like, take a pen, take the book, please use it. What do they always say? Give it back in the same way you found it. Okay. Go to the dunya, take what you need a few shirts, buy them. You need transportation, pay for it. You need to take a flight to go learn something, to do better, to keep family ties, to help to learn, to spread knowledge. Take the flight. But don't own it. Don't own it. You own the thing doesn't own you. Why was arad used in this context? It was used as a contrast. The word arad is used to contrast the hereafter, because the hereafter is eternal, it doesn't end. Whereas arad is material and it's temporary. It also uses the word arad because Muslims wanted at that time the worldly pursuits against spiritual being, and it talks about seeking Allah's pleasure, etc. This is a beautiful hadith. It's a sound hadith. إنك لن تدع شيئا لله عز وجل إلا بدلك الله بما هو خير لك منه. You do not leave anything for the sake of Allah except that Allah gives you what's better than it. And it's open. Yani, you may leave something that is material and Allah will give you something that is material that is better. The examples are endless, and I cannot, but just for a small example, مثلا, you don't want to waste as much time playing video games. I remember at a time, by the way, when I was a kid, I was addicted to video games. Addicted, I could spend, in the summer, I could spend a good 10 hours, 12 hours playing video games. Big problem. As I started to learn more about deen, I really felt how I'm wasting time. I could really feel it. It was a very big problem for me. But I said, Wallahi, you know what? I have an average of 6-7 hours a day. Video gaming became much less because of studies and sports, around 3 hours a day. And I was not getting enough sleep. So I said, you know what, I'll give half of it away for Allah. Yani, this is for Allah. And I don't know how Allah is going to pay me back, but I'll just pay it back. This was my intention. I didn't know this hadith, by the way, at the time. I just said, I'll give it up. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, say mashallah. Allahumma barik, say it now, right now. Allahumma barik, mashallah, thank you. I found it very difficult to return to games afterwards. Very difficult. I still like to every now and then. I don't know how to beat people at FIFA anymore. But it's a blessing. And I don't feel like I lost anything. Whereas I have people who, when they feel that I get mixed up because I didn't press R1 at the right time, they feel like I'm an idiot and I just gave up the whole world because I don't know how to play a proper game when I'm playing with it. I know people like this, wallah. But the idea that you give something for Allah, this is a silly example. I'm giving us, but you will find these big examples in your life. And let's just, we're all adults, we're all going to go through, or we went through, or we've seen people go through this. Let me say it as it is. Giving up a boyfriend, giving up a girlfriend, giving up a haram relationship, giving up the wrong feed. You're looking at the wrong feed. The algorithm shows you what you want to see. So if it keeps on showing you stuff you don't want to see, that means you've already searched for things you should not be looking at, and it keeps on showing it to you. Giving up a toxic relationship. I'm not talking about boys and girls. Toxic relationship with family members. Putting limits, but keeping them away. Giving up something you shouldn't be doing. Whatever it may be, bad habit, a bad way of speaking, a place you shouldn't go to. By the way, a place you shouldn't go to does not mean nightclubs, or where the only place you shouldn't go to is a nightclub. By the way, another place you shouldn't go to is a mosque where one mosque keeps on talking about people negatively, where they diss on other cultures or other people with different beliefs. You should not be talking to Muslims who think that they are better just because they are Muslim, that they are better with everyone else. You checked Allah's book and you saw that you're going to heaven and everybody else is going to hell. Don't hang out with these people. These are toxic people. Giving up something for Allah, Allah always gives you something what is better than it. In this world and in the next. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, I put this hadith in by accent, forgive me. أهل المعروف في الدنيا, but it's still a good hadith. أهل المعروف في الدنيا هم أهل المعروف في الآخرة, وأهل المنكر في الدنيا هم أهل المنكر في الآخرة. The people of good in dunya are the people of good in the akhirah, and the people of munkar or incorrect things are the people of incorrect things in the next world. This is one, should have put it somewhere else. Anyway, this is one of the main things you need to keep in mind. This here, all of this is just, how can I explain it? And it's a bad example, but okay, it's an example. When you're doing your CV, you're writing all your stuff and you're creating your LinkedIn profile and you're buying all the tools you need and all that stuff, all that prep, and then you actually go to the job place and then they treat you for what they saw you did in your CV. All this place is just you preparing your CV. Basically. You are preparing here to get there. Getting here is like someone who's selling sandwiches, he's hot. He's selling shawarma or selling, what's it called, doner kebab. He's selling by the tens in a minute. Chicken, beef, he keeps on selling. And then while he's selling, he stops and he counts. And he's counting. The people who want things in this dunya are like this person. He does, but then what am I getting for it? What am I getting? The people who understand the dunya, they just want to serve. And then after the customers are gone, then they will count. You don't count here, you count there. And if you count here, believe me, you will always be losing. People who want to count here are always losing. The dunya has a very low ceiling. Very low ceiling. Everything in it, it's a very Arabic saying, except for what? Every time you think you're going to puncture that ceiling by doing something new, you will always find that it doesn't work that way. Example, yeah, this is Bardo. Again, I like to give these little, because they make sense. I like Cristiano, okay? And may Allah give him guidance. He's a good man, good heart, he supports the right causes, he's a good man. I like Cristiano. Meshi, may Allah give him hidayah. Cristiano has, I think, 19 cars. But he once said, I don't ride except one. It's the comfortable one. He got the 19 because pleasure, but then he realized that no, this you can't cross it with more. Khalas, you just need something and you got it and that's it. One of the actors, Travolta, by the way, I don't know if you know, but his house, he has a plane, a Boeing, parked outside his house. He has a runway to his house. And he doesn't need to go to an airport to take a plane out. He has a plane and a jet outside his house with a runway. And when they speak to him, he's very nonchalant about it. Because he realized, and I use the example not because I like these people, but because sometimes we say, brother man, it's because you ride Ubers, you don't know. If you had it, you wouldn't say this. Wallah, I see the people who have it. I don't need to wait to have it and to go through the whole pain of having it to say this. I believe what I see. And seeing is believing, yeah. For this idea, we need to have things. You will never reach the sea, you will never cross that barrier. That barrier is very low. A little bit gives you what you need. And by the way, before I move on to the next point, because one of the things I do is life coaching, and that's something I'll tell you about in the end, just in case anybody wants to have some life coaching. I recommend you go somewhere else, but if you want and if you feel comfortable with me, I'm happy to do life coaching. It's pro bono, I don't take anything, so it's fine. It can be video, it can be face-to-face, it can be online, it can be whatever you want. It can be voice, whatever. But what I want to say is, in relationships, and this is more for men than it is for women. One of the problems in relationships, regardless Muslim, non-Muslim, and this is proven and documented, we don't circle around it too much. It's documented, men with time, they get bored. They have this sort of apathy. And the way they think they can, the monotony of a marriage, and the way they think they can revitalize a marriage is to changing the partner. They think that this will bring some sort of satisfaction or some sort of variety. Don't get me wrong, but scientifically it's proven that every person is different. And when you have your relationship or your intimate relationship with every person, it is different. The neurons that fire in the head are different. However, it is not different enough for a person to say that it is worth breaking the stability of having a monogamous relationship. By the way, I'm talking about this whether in the confines of Islam, through second, third marriages, or out of Islam through affairs and being promiscuous, etc. And look at the data, don't trust me, look at the data, go online and write promiscuous behavior and effects on the brain. That's it. Google Scholar, promiscuous behavior between spouses and effects on the brain. Male promiscuous behavior, male affairs and its effect on the brain and on the dopamine. Let's write it down. And look at the stats. People who cheat all the time, what do they feel? Even the ones who get away with it, what do they feel? The ceiling is very low. It's very low. Everything. With the opposite gender, with money, with things, very low. Prophet ﷺ, he said, إن الله تعالى قسم بينكم أخلاقكم كما قسم بينكم أرزاقكم. وإن الله تعالى يعطي المال, this is very important, يعطي المال من أحب ومن لا يحب. ولا يعطي الإيمان إلا من يحب. فمن ظن بمال أن ينفقه وخاف العدو أن يجاهده وهاب الليل أن يكابده فليكثر من قول لا إله إلا الله سبحان الله والحمد لله والله أكبر. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, and this is true by the way, and this is why we always say Allahumma kama, when if you look at the mirror, the dua is, you see everything you do is a worship. If you look in the mirror and you see that Allah mashallah barak has given you a nice complexion, or you love your complexion, you feel grateful that Allah created you this way, and then you say, Allahumma kama hassanta khilqati, hassan khuluqi. Just like Allah, just like you have beautified my creation, beautify my manners. It's hadith. The dua you say, look at the mirror. First of all, you have to say, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah, for per the other hadith. If you look at yourself, or you see in yourself what you like, or you see in your children, or in your money what you like, or in others, in themselves, in their children, in their money what you like, you say, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. I look at myself and I like my new trainers, I say, MashaAllah, yes, you say, MashaAllah. You can give yourself an eye, yes, you can give yourself an eye. So you say that, and then you say this dua. But he said Allah has divided amongst you your manners just like He has divided amongst you your income. Some people are very kind. They have nothing, but they're very kind. And some people have a lot of money, and they're kind, but they're not very forgiving. Some people are very forgiving, but they're not very kind. Some people are very understanding, but they're not nice to be around. Some people are very strict and they know how to put good systems in the world, in families, but they're not fun to be around. Nobody wants them in the party. Nobody wants them on the beach with the family. يعني يا رب, they go to the mosque and they don't come back. يلا. أخلاق. You will find this. You find people who nosy. They want to know everything. Everything. And some people are not nosy, but they want to share everything. They know something best, and they do it out of goodwill. It's not that they have nothing better to speak about. They just want to share it. So you ask Allah to give you the best of manners. Because it's a risk, it's a type of risk. What the Prophet said, he said, أكثر من يدخل الجنة تقوى الله وحسن الخلق. The most of the things that get you into heaven, we had a khutbah about this once, by the way. We can focus on it again. The thing that gets you into Jannah the most is taqwa Allah, husn khuluq. Fearing Allah or having God consciousness and good manners. And he said, وَأَكْثَرَ مَا يُدْخِلُ النَّارِ, and the thing that puts most people into hell is مَا بَيْنَ الْفَكَّيْنِ وَالْفَخْدَيْنِ. What's between the two jaws and between the two hips. Basically your tongue and your private part. The two things that get people into hell the most. Talking, backbiting, saying what's not true, lying, spreading secrets, spreading lies, rumors, being mean to people, being rude with your tongue. And then everything that works around it doesn't mean you have to go do zina. But the fact that you are having a side hustle, or you're chatting with someone you shouldn't be chatting to, you're looking at someone you shouldn't be looking at, or this and that. All of these things, they come from the hormones that come from this area. And he said that Allah He gives the world to who He loves and who He doesn't love. When you see someone with money, it does not mean that Allah is happy with them. There's a beautiful verse in Surah Al-Zukhruf. Write this down. Surah Al-Zukhruf, or the chapter of decoration. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He says, وَلَوْلَا أَنْ يَكُونَ النَّاسُ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً. This is verse number 33 in Zukhruf. 33 in Zukhruf. وَلَوْلَا أَنْ يَكُونَ النَّاسُ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً لَجَعَلْنَا لِمَنْ يَكْفُرُ بِالرَّحْمَنِ لِبُيُوتِهِمْ سُقُفًا مِنْ فِضَّةٍ وَمَعَارِجَ عَلَيْهَا يَظْهَرُونَ. Next verse. وَلِبُيُوتِهِمْ أَبْوَابًا وَسُرُرًا عَلَيْهَا يَتَّكِئُونَ وَزُخْرُفًا وَإِنَّ كُلَّ ذَلِكَ لَمَّا مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if it were not, because Allah created the human condition and He knows how the human thinks, if it were not out of care and love and mercy of the human condition that the believers would think that Allah only gives money to those who are disbelieving and He doesn't give money to those who are believing, we would have not given the believers anything at all of the dunya, to not give them any fitna. They would walk in rags and have to ride donkeys and they would never have anything else. And we would give all the dunya to the disbelievers. And listen. And we would give them roofs of silver. And then staircases that would spiral up to the sky, towers of gold and silver. And not just that, and they would be ornamented. And they would be ornamented and beautiful. And all of this is just the tools that people would use to reach. It's just the tools of the dunya. The tools of dunya. وَالْآخِرَةُ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. And the end, at your Lord's end, is only for those who are God conscious. The scholars say that about this verse, that Allah gives us just to prove to us, no, I can give you and I can give them. I don't think you have to be a kafir for me to give you the world. But because He knows that we will think like this, very few of us will not think like this. Most of us will say, hey, how come? We believe and we do and we go and jihad and we get nothing and they get everything. Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْطِي الدُّنْيَا مَنْ يُحِبُّ مَنْ لَا يُحِبُّ. Allah gives the word to who He loves and who He doesn't love. And He doesn't give fake religion. Religion is not scripture. I'll come to that in a second. He doesn't give faith or deen, true and saying deen, except to the people He loves. When you see someone who has deen and they love it and they've sacrificed things in their life and they've changed things in their life for deen and they're making time for deen and they know that Allah will give them something in their life because they've made time for deen, to learn, to share, to practice it. This is a sign that this Allah loves this person, even if he makes mistakes, even if he makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're here to make mistakes. Sayyidina Musa grabbed his brother by his beard. Sayyidina Musa was so angry, he broke the tablets Allah sent that had the scriptures on it. Yani, do you understand his temper? He broke the tablets that Allah sent to him. What more of a mistake is there? And he's one of the 5 top prophets. Ulul Azm min Rusul. Sayyidina Adam, Sayyidina Nuh, Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Ibrahim. Sayyidina Ibrahim, Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Isa, Sayyidina Nuh, Sayyidina Muhammad. We all make mistakes. So whoever sees himself as miserly with his wealth and doesn't want to fight the enemy and is terrified of enduring the night should frequently repeat La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu al-mulku wa al-hamdu wa kullu shay'in qadir. This softens your heart. It makes you, why you should say this? Because it makes you focus on Allah. Every time you don't want to spend and you say this dhikr, it makes you realign your goals. When you have a why. Didn't we last time we spoke about why and how and what? When you don't want to spend, that means you have a different why in your head. If I ask you, why don't you want to spend? And you have enough to spend. You can spend on your family and you can give sadaqah. Okay? If I ask you, why don't you want to spend? Forget about me. If you ask yourself, you will say, I don't want to spend because I have more important things to do. I have more important things I want to buy. I have different priorities. I'm thinking of a certain stage in my life. You have a why. This dhikr changes your why. There's no Allah but Allah. Yani I'm not a God, Allah is the God. What does it say? You have to say La ilaha Allah wa subhanallah walhamdulillah la ilaha Allah. Subhanallah, we said last time, subhan means sabaha, to swim. I cannot float in this dunya, I cannot be saved except through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I give Him, He will save me. If I keep to myself, it will not save me, it will weigh me down. So I better give for Him to make me float and hang on to Him. Walhamdulillah. And praise was and always be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He's given me. Wallahu Akbar. And Allah is greater. And this is one of the things we will be looking at when we come to the workshop of meaningful prayer. Why do we say Allahu Akbar and not Allah Al-Akbar? We say Allahu Akbar. We don't say Allahu Al-Akbar. Allahu Akbar does not mean God is the greatest. We do believe that God is the greatest. There's no doubt in that. But that's not what it means. In Arabic, when you say Allahu Akbar, it means Allah is greater than, and you stay quiet. You know superlative and comparative. Superlative, Ahmed is the fastest. Comparative, Ahmed is faster. Akbar is comparative. You just said Allah is greater, and you stay quiet. Then what? Then whatever is keeping me from doing what I should do now. I don't want to spend because this. I don't want to fight because that. I don't want to say what is right because I'm afraid of this. Allah is greater than this, and that. So when you say this dhikr, it changes your mindset, it changes your why. And then you're able to spend, and then you're able to stand the night, and then you're able to 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 minutes, and then I'll give you a break. 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. Prophet he said, من همان لا يشبعان صاحب العلم وصاحب الدنيا ولا يستويان أما صاحب العلم فيرادد رضا الرحمن وأما صاحب الدنيا فيتمادى في الطغيان. He said 2 people are never satiated in life. 2 people. The person who is looking for knowledge and the person who is looking for money. The person who's looking for knowledge and the person who's looking for money. Meaning, some people with fame, fame has a ceiling. Women or the opposite gender, برضه has a ceiling. A lot of things have a ceiling. But money, if you chase money, حتى for the sake of money, by the way, it doesn't have a ceiling. The Prophet ﷺ said if the son of Adam had a valley of gold, and between two mountains, the valley, there's no water and it's all gold, he would want two valleys. And if he had two, he would want three. This idea of saving, of seeing numbers that you are worth this number, means a lot to the human condition. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever chases knowledge and he keeps on doing it, he extends his life and he expiates his life in Allah being content with them. It's a huge blessing. And whoever extends his life in money or in worldly affairs, all what they're doing is that they are pushing طغيان. طغيان, طغى is if this cup of water is full and then it starts to overflow, it's called طغيان. In the Quran you have إِنَّ لَمَّا طَغَى الْمَاء حَمَلْنَاكُمْ فِي الْجَارِيَةِ. When the water overflowed, we carried you in the floating thing, in the running thing, which is a ship. One of Sayyidina Nuh's signs, Allah told him, you will have a sign to know when to put your family and all animal species and those who believed with you into the ship that he built. He told him, when you are at your oven in the house and water comes out of the oven from the fire, and you lit the fire, but water comes out of the fire, this is when you have to get on the ship. But Allah says, when the water overflowed, it has two meanings. It means it came out of the oven, but also when the tsunami came, and the water overflowed in the whole world. This is when we put you in the running ship. But the person who keeps on chasing money, they keep on chasing overflowing of what? Overflowing of everything. How many times have you seen we rarely ever see someone who has money but doesn't have deen. If you have money and deen, it's beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ said, نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. What beautiful thing it is, pure money or reconciliating money for a reconciliating slave. Yeah, when your money is halal, it comes from a good place, and didn't come through riba or from usury or from interest, and you came from a good source and you're using it for a good cause, there's nothing more beautiful than this. By the way, 10 of the mubashirin bil Jannah, 10 of those that the Prophet ﷺ gave them firm certification, you're going to Jannah. 10 of them, 6 of them were wealthy businessmen. 6 of them. Islam does not promote poverty. Islam rewards people who are poor and persevere, but it doesn't promote accepting being poor. Does this make sense? If you say the adhkar of the morning and of the evening, أعوذ بك من الكفر والفقر, I seek refuge in you from disbelief and from poverty. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put in the dhikr poverty next to disbelief. Is there anything worse than disbelief? Allah put next to it poverty. Because if you have poverty in life, it can lead you to disbelief. Poverty can lead you to disbelief. Social poverty can lead you to disbelief. Resource poverty can lead you to disbelief. Financial poverty can lead you to disbelief. So you seek refuge from both of them. But in general, rarely will you ever see someone who has money and doesn't have deen and is not doing crazy stuff. Do we agree about this or we don't agree about this? If you've seen otherwise, please let me know. I know personally till now, I have not seen someone who is a millionaire who doesn't do crazy stuff. Even if they don't do crazy stuff that we see on Instagram or we hear about. They do silly things. Buy 3 planes. Buy مش عارف ايه. They could end poverty for a whole half country. But they don't. Do you see what I mean? And that's where the Prophet ﷺ, he gave this tafsir for the verse إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. Those who have true awe of Allah are the ones who are knowledgeable of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a verse I forgot, I'll tell you where it is now. In Surah Fatir. Surah Fatir 28. Fatir is basically the initiator of things, not the creator, the initiator. Khaliq is someone who creates. And Allah gave us that title. He said, فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Oh, blessed is Allah, the best of creators, because we know how to create things, we make products, etc. He gave us that title, we are allowed to use that. But you're not allowed to say about a human being, he's a fatir. Fatir is the one who initiated something that never existed in the first place. Yani we can make phones, ماشي, خالق. Because you created something, a mode of communication. But Allah created modes of communication first. We have speech, we have sign language, we can see. He created the materials in the actual phone, so he's the Fatir. You just created something out of those. You can do that. And he can also do that. He can create different elements from the same carbon. Yeah, we're all just carbon and atoms. This is what the secular says. We're just carbon, we're just atoms. And we die, there's nothing else. If you go by them, we're just carbon. But carbon makes a turtle, and carbon makes a human being, and carbon makes a swan. عادي يعني. But nobody is Fatir except Allah. The one who made the carbon aslan is Allah. But the people who have true awe of Allah are the people who are knowledgeable of Him. And this is knowledge. To understand that the true way to live your life is you're never satiated with the amount of deen you have. It doesn't mean you don't leave school. But some people learn, and whatever they learn, they frame it in a frame that is akhirah. You can learn engineering and be an amazing atheist. People make cases for atheism because of their engineering. People make cases for Islam because of their engineering. People become great doctors and great humanitarians not because they're smart or because they're amazing at their field, but because they see the ni'mah, the awe of Allah in how He has created the human being, the kidney, the heart, the lungs. How there are some animals that can grow a tail in less than a day if their tail is cut off, but we cannot grow our legs if our legs cut off. Why did Allah put the power here and not there? Subhanahu, He wants hikmah. Hikmah, He didn't give us this. But we can grow our skin. If our skin is burnt or if it's cut, we can grow it, but we cannot grow a whole limb. Then why? Hikmah. They see this and they see Allah. This is true awe. This makes you thirsty. From that saying, they always say in business, stay thirsty. Stay thirsty. Aywa. But not in business. Stay thirsty in deen. And if Allah's giving you the talent to make money, if everyone here can be a millionaire, please be my guest. If you can, be a millionaire. But be a millionaire in your pocket and in your heart. Because the minute you have $1 in your pocket more than your heart, you're in big trouble. That difference of scale in your pocket than your heart is a very big problem. And I know this, and you can take your break. The difference between someone, this is maybe the balance you can keep, you can write down. The difference between someone who is thirsty for deen or thirsty for dunya, if you have the money in your hand, is basically the person who is thirsty for dunya thinks that they own the money. Whereas the person who is thirsty for deen knows that they don't own the money. They have been trusted with the money. You know when somebody grows very old in the UK and they cannot think about things, there's a word for it, when they cannot, do their regular actions like go to the bank, check their bank account, check their email, all that stuff. And then they appoint someone, they sign a document, they appoint someone to take care of them. What's that name called? What's that title? Huh? Raise your voice again. Huh? No, not the disease. The person you appoint, let's say your child, to take care of you. Sorry? Volume?
Power of attorney.
Not power of attorney. There's a word for it. Basically, they are responsible for everything that you do. It's just a single word. I just forgot the name. That's it. But of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above all of this. He can do, but He told you, I want to give you this position. Here it is. Here's the money. Here's the suitcase. Show me what you do. And I'll reward you for it. And I'll take it back. When you go back on the floor, on the ground, and you have nothing with you except 2 meters of cloth, I'll take it back. This is the mentality of someone who is thirsty for deen and has money at the same time. That's it. 5-minute break. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Deep breath. No problem. No one can see it. Take care. No one. So, let's get the show on the road. Bismillah. This is a lovely verse in Surah At-Tawbah. And the scholars discuss this much, and I really love it because it just shows the importance of starting out right. أَفَمَنْ أَسَّسْ بُنْيَانَهُ عَلَى التَّقْوَى مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانٍ خَيْرٌ أَمَّنْ أَسَّسْ بُنْيَانَهُ عَلَى شَفَا جُرُفٍ انهار به في نار جهنم والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Is the one who founded foundations, his structure upon mindfulness of Allah and his good pleasure better, or the one who founded his structure on the brink of a cliff that was about to tumble, so that it tumbled with him into the fire. But the scholars say here, some people build their Islam incorrectly. And some people, they say, I'm going to pray, or I'm going to fast. Some people go to Hajj, by the way, with the wrong intention. They go because there are different wrong intentions. Some people go to Hajj because they want people to call them Ya Hajj. In Egypt and in Lebanon and Syria, etc. When people go to Hajj, you have to call them Hajj. You like them, you don't like them, you have to call them Hajj. خلاص. That's it. I remember I knew someone at the mosque who was my age, and I didn't go to that mosque because I couldn't stand the kibr that came. I felt bad for him. But he would never allow anyone to call him by his name. You had to call him Sheikh because he memorized the whole Quran. And he wanted to take the weak hadith that says that if somebody memorizes the Quran, you call him a Sheikh. It's a weak hadith. And he wanted to take it literally. Even if there are some narrations say it's not weak. But anyway. But this idea that you build your Islam on the wrong premises, so much so you can build the 5 main aspects or the 5 main articles of Islam incorrectly. Your prayer, your siyam, your zakah, your hajj, and your la ilaha illallah can all be for the wrong reasons. You can be doing hajj for the wrong reason, just because it was, I'm not convinced of hajj, and I've seen people like this. Wallah, may Allah never make us like this. But when I was a kid, by the way, I was not convinced of this hajj thing. We hajj and we pay all of this and we leave and we go and the woman has to have a wali. I was the complete opposite. I still, nobody is free of these things, but I've seen myself be like this, and there are people who are like this. No, I used to say, okay, I'll go to hajj when I'm older just because, if Allah said, خلاص, we'll go to this hajj thing. Checklists. But do they really see it as transformative? No. They pray because I have to, because maybe I'll go to hell. ماشي. In case it's fard, ماشي. The structure is wrong. I don't know about you, but who here has anything to do with engineering? Who else? Anyone engineer? Yes. You know that when I don't like concrete, but when we're making concrete, one of the worst things you can do to concrete is when you're mixing the sand, cement, silt together, you put impure water. So you use either salty water, or you use sewage water, or you use water that hasn't been purified. Created a perfect disaster. The building will fall within a few months to 4 or 5 years, depending on how bad the water is. And this is exactly what we do. Your intention and your understanding of verses is that water you put in the concrete. Some people build the tower, but it will fall. They will do a lot of good with their zakah or their sadaqah, but it will not be accepted. Because where they came from, when they did it, they didn't do it because Allah makes happy with this, but because we're a big family, We do things for people, we take care of people, Godfather, we do things for people. That's the intention. Big family, people know us. We pray because people respect me in my community. They'll call me Sheikh. All of the mummies and the aunties will want to marry the daughters to me because I pray on time. See? Pathetic. And we do this all the time in different things. Hopefully, when we understand about what is dunya, when we do it, we don't do it with that wrong water in the concrete. We put the right water. Why do we do things in dunya? Because Allah created this playing field. He put us here. He wants to see us do good things, and we will leave. That's it. And He's keeping score of everything. Everything is kept score of. And there are multipliers. You know why we are addicted to games? Why are we? tell me, why do you think we're addicted to games? Why are games so addictive? Whatever the kind of game, Assassin's Creed, Bounce, Candy Crush, Candy Squeeze, why do you think we're so addicted to games?
For the dopamine.
Yes, but what happens in the game? What do you see happening that makes you get the dopamine rush?
Like you get a win in the game and you want more of it.
Yes, the win is what?
Temporary.
But immediate.
Maybe immediate.
Everything you do is immediate. Everything you do today is not immediate. You say a good word to someone, it's registered with Allah. And yet you say you do a good deed, you intercede for someone, it's registered. Everything is registered with Allah. من يشفع شفاعة حسنة يكن له خير منها. Whoever intercedes a good interceding for Allah, he has something that is better than it. Allah said that already, but you don't see it. It's there, but you don't see it. You think you don't see it. You have barakah in your life. Allah gives you good people. Good people around you is risk. This is risk. The fact that we live in a peaceful environment, you have good people coming with you. I was just in France the other day. I wanted to pray. There were no prayer rooms on campus. You're not allowed to pray on any public space. You're not allowed to pray. The person I asked her, I want to pray. She told me, you cannot pray. There is no praying space. She told me, by the way, I'm hijabi. I'm not allowed to wear hijab at school. After school, I put on my tarha when I'm going home. I'm not allowed to, and I need a job. This is risk that you live this life. The fact that I'm speaking and you can hear and understand what I'm saying, this is risk. All of this is risk, but we think it's not there. But okay, the immediate reward of 10 times, 10 times, 20 times, 700 of the deeds per the hadith, we don't see it immediately. So we're not addicted to the word. But the person who has the vision of Islam, who puts on and they see everything they do, everything they pay, everything they say, everything they don't say, and they see the points they get, balash bad, this type of materialistic way of dealing with Allah, but they see how Allah is so happy with this, they can see Allah being happy with them. The hadith, يضحك Allah, Allah laughs at two men or two believers that meet in the middle of the road and they hold each other's hands and they shake hands. He laughs at them coming together with such a good heart, and the sins dissipate from their hands like the leaves fall from a tree in autumn until one of them leaves the other hand. But you see it, you see Allah smiling, but you smile because you can see Him smiling. طبعا تعالى Allah جل وعلا, He's above smiling and above these things, but you get I mean, we don't use anamorphisms, but you get the meaning of what I'm trying to say. A believer sees the immediate actions, so they are addicted to turning every single little thing into worship. And we'll come to that in a second, by the way. This will be one of our closing things, because some people will think, but this is living in a very selfish way. Yeah, you do things for your family because Allah is happy, not because you love them. This is a question, by the way. We'll answer it in the end. And you guys will answer it, not me. Yeah, you do things for your spouse because you love Allah, not because you love your spouse. Hey, you married a mouse? That rhymes, by the way. Hey, you do things for people around you, people who need you, because Allah is happy, not because you're responsible of them. إن الذين لا يرجون لقاءنا ورضوا بالحياة الدنيا واطمأنوا بها والذين هم عن آياتنا غافلون. This is very important. إن الذين, those who do not expect to meet us and have been content with this earlier life. رضوا بالحياة الدنيا. You know, it's a very يعني رضوا بالحياة الدنيا, when you hear it in Arabic, it sounds so, it's such an insult. In such a nice way. It's such an insult. Imagine, I'm telling you, come ride with me. I have a wonderful car, air conditioning, LED lights, smooth suspension, recliner, Maybach. And you say, no. I'll walk on the A15, I'll take the 200-mile road to London. This is exactly what Allah is saying. There is no comparison, but this is what Allah is saying. The rest of the verses is for you to search, this homework. So you write down Yunus, Ayah 7, look at the rest of the verses, what comes after it, to get the whole context. They're writing us, I need to look at them, I'm looking at you. Homework, please, write it down. Yunus 7 and the verses after it. You're writing, or you're not writing? Someone has to write. You can share, but someone has to write. And he says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا غَافِلُونَ, and those who of our signs are oblivious. By the way, when you love dunya too much, you become oblivious of Allah's signs. They don't make sense to you. You don't really care about them. Even if they do, you don't really care about them, by the way. This is, by the way, the exercise to the answer of what I was talking about. In life, we have multiple choice exams and we have essay exams, yes or no? Some questions are both multiple choice and essay. You cannot get the grade if you don't answer the multiple choice part and the essay part. And sometimes the question is the same. So they will ask you, for example, when you are good to your family, are you good to them for Allah or because you love them? This is multiple choice and there's no third option. It's either Allah or for them. Or طبعا out of fear or out of self-gain. If you go to them, they will give you stuff, etc. Or selflessly, you love them so much, you want to serve them just because I love you, so you want to serve them. There is none of the above. It's one of them. You're serving them for yourself, you're serving them out of fear, you're serving them because you love them, you're serving them for Allah. Once you answer, then it says ask same question again, but then it says answer in a format of 50 to 500 words. The Muslim's correct response is, I am good to my family because Allah. That's it. That is it. That is the only answer you need to give. In the essay response, you say, I love my family because I'm good to my family because I love Allah. And Allah made a sunnah in His world that we are born, we love our parents, it is natural to love our parents. It is a catalyst for us to be good towards them. And it's a catalyst for them to be good to us because they love us automatically. And always parents love their children more than children love their parents. It's a natural feeling. This has been proven. Allah created this catalyst. I am grateful to Allah that He put this in me and in my parents for us to be together so long. And now that they are starting to become older and they're losing control over what they say and they're not as socially correct anymore like they used to be, and now that I am busy and I have my own life and I cannot spend enough time with them, I will respect and I will capitalize on the nature that Allah gave me to love them automatically, and now maybe I don't love them that much anymore because I don't really need them. Part of love is need. I don't need them that much anymore. They gave me everything back. They gave me their life and their love and their experience and their advice and their money, and now I'm independent. You're not independent. You were built on the shoulders of others. But okay, you don't need them anymore. But now I will capitalize on this to serve them as a way of thanking Allah that He built me with this innate nature to love my parents as a child. I will capitalize on it and I will complete the favor. I will pay it forward now. And they will do the same. They will capitalize on it now that they feel you're independent, you don't need them, but they will capitalize and they will treat you with respect and they will keep on giving you the advice. And Allah loves to see people who love one another. He created us to see us come together in one for His service. I have to serve them. Because Allah, this world will not have peace except if people come together. This is how you should answer a question. Same with studying, same with making money, same with everything. Multiple choice, essay. In the essay you will find love of the spouse. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, they asked him, who would you love the most? He said, Aisha. And this was a very uncommon thing for an Arab man, macho yani, for a macho, and the Prophet was the most balanced of all people. That's why he is a role model for women and for men, because he had the perfect balance of feminine and masculine. However, he was extremely masculine. But for an Arab man to say to me, yeah, he was changing their mindset. Paradigm shift. You can't say that my favorite person in the world is a woman. He said, my favorite is Aisha. They said, no, we mean of the men. He said, her father. Oh, for this idea that he loves her, but why does he love her? Because she's such a beautiful person on the inside. She is a constant reminder of Allah for him. She is a beautiful person. She's a nafkha min ruh Allah. What are we? We are a blow of Allah's ruh in us. Allah said this in the Quran. وَنَفَخَ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِ, and He blew into Adam of His soul. Allah says this. For when you see someone who's beautiful, you're not looking at the skin, you're not looking at the meat. You're looking at the beautiful soul Allah put in him, and the filter is his body. So some people are kinder than others. So you're looking at that ruh of Allah in that person. That's what you really love. Does that make sense? It's not easy to understand. It's not easy to practice. With many things, I find it difficult sometimes because I've learned to say no, I'm doing it because I like this. I like doing this. Regardless of whether Allah likes it. Allah likes it, it's a plus. Mesh. I like it, Allah likes it, plus, double. No, to change our mindset that Allah likes this, it's a big thing. And that's why we like to say, love one, accept all, attach to none. Write it down, explain it. Love one, accept all, attach to none. Love one, love first and foremost and only Allah. If you put someone before Allah, you will have to sin. You have to. There's no escape. Accept all. Anything Allah puts you in. Last time, if you remember, we said, why did Allah put you here? Remember when we said that? Why did Allah put you here? In whatever circumstance you have, not talking about Lincoln. Any circumstance you have in your life, you have to ask, why did Allah put me here? Tomorrow, you might be ill. You have to ask, why did Allah put me here? Don't say, He's punishing me. Maybe you know a sin you did. And once I had a horrible accident. But 2 days before, Allah, and I am convinced Allah did this because of this. 2 days before, I looked at someone and I thought of them in a very ill manner in my head. And I'm being honest with you, to the extent that I said, I think Allah gave them this problem in their life because they are like this. Wallahi, when I had that accident secondly, the only thing that came to my mind is, you got this because you judged this person. It was the biggest wake-up call of my life. But I'm not upset because it taught me a lot and it expiated out of my sins and hopefully to make me a better person. Accept everything Allah puts you in and adapt towards it. Don't say, but I'm going to miss my gym, I'm going to miss my mashayikh, Allah did not give you the surroundings to do that thing, khalas. He is giving you different surroundings for a different schedule. Find the schedule and accept it. Accept what Allah has given you. The third is attached to none. The problem with the human being is we love routine. We are habitual creatures. With time we get used to things. Sometimes we don't want to leave a relationship because we've gotten used to it. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Right? Get attached to nothing. You're used to a certain system in life, tomorrow it will change. You will move, you will lose people, you will leave friends, family will leave you. Don't get so attached to something that you cannot worship Allah the way He wants you to, where He has put you. Be very conscious of not being attached to things. And the way you do that is through dhikr. That's why we do dhikr round the clock. Morning, evening, after the prayers, going up the stairs, down the stairs. Because if you do dhikr all the time, whatever moment you're thinking about of something that is affecting you and your dopamine and your endorphins and your serotonin and your oxytocin, if you keep on doing dhikr all those times, again, it rewires your brain right away to think about Allah. So it channels those hormones towards Allah. So every time those hormones are secreted with time, you will find that it's always associated with Allah. What is endorphins? It's the hormone of anticipation. When the coffee is coming kida, you see it on the counter being made and they're putting the cinnamon on the top and they're putting the and it's coming. This endorphins is coming out in your body. When you have the first sip, that's dopamine. If, God forbid, may Allah forgive us all, if you used to go to a certain coffee shop with a certain green logo and you walk in the street and people think that you're elite because you're drinking from that coffee shop, and you know that people are seeing the cup, that's called serotonin. The I'm buff hormone. I'm sure of myself. People think I'm better than them. That's called serotonin. Somebody comes and they're also having the cup. Oh, you were there, cappuccino buddies. And they give you a hug. This is called oxytocin. Sitting in a group, in a good gathering, camp night, chatting, texting, oxytocin. So if you're doing and oxytocin is what bonds people together. When it's secreted, it makes people want to go back to the person again. If you do dhikr all the time, during those 4, somehow all of these things will turn you eventually always to Allah. So you will not be attached to them. You will be attached to those 4 hormones, which is very natural. They call them dose, D-O-S-E. All of them. If you put them together, it's dose. Every time you say them, you will go back to Allah. Every time you feel them, you will feel that, but is this reminding me of Allah or not? Make sense? We're almost finished. This verse, نساءكم حرث لكم فأتوا حرثكم أن شئتم وقدموا لأنفسكم واتقوا الله وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ بَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Sorry, verse. Your women are a field for you. So approach your fields whichever way you like. But do some good act for yourselves beforehand and be mindful of Allah and know that you are bound to meet Him and give glad tidings to the believers. This verse is a very important verse. We can talk about it in length at another time. But basically, again, we're all adults, so I'm not going to shy away from saying this. But this verse is basically, it came to the Muslims because, just for context, this verse came because when the Muslims of Medina went to Mecca, they found it a bit difficult to deal with the women they married from Medina intimately, because they wanted to do things a certain way, and the Medina women said, no, we don't do it this way. It's only this way and nothing, and no other form. But they went to the Prophet and he said, no, as long as you do not do anything that's impermissible, so you approach your wife through what is permissible for you, you can choose whatever form you want or whatever form they want. This is number one. But number two, وَقَدِّمُوا لَأَنفُسِكُمْ. It is a strict order for foreplay. This is one of the main verses we have that men have to treat their women very well and the opposite. But foreplay is important because we have other hadiths as well that forbid, and they go for men. These hadiths usually go for men, not for women. Because men have this problem, is that they want the end result without giving the other person their right. And the reality is, you have to give them their right. This is their right. But Allah says, وَقَدِّمُوا لَأَنفُسِكُمْ. And He uses this word for two reasons. And give for yourself, treat the other person or treat your wife as if she were you. If you were her, what would you want? To treat her as such. And then قَدِّمُوا لَأَنفُسِكُمْ. If you treat them well, Allah will reward you. This is strictly all about intimacy. Very strictly about intimacy, but in the most subtle and most refined and most beautiful language that can be used. And then وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ بَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And then Allah brings you back to the dunya in general. And know that you're going to meet Him. For the Prophet ﷺ makes a beautiful commentary about this. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ. And know that you're going to meet Him. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ بَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It's not here what I want to. Sorry, I did not put it here. He said, وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوا اللَّهِ فَأَجْمِلُوا فِي الطَّلَبِ. فَاتَّقُوا وَأَجْمِلُوا فِي الطَّلَبِ. Know that you're going to meet Allah, so be conscious of Him. وَأَجْمِلُوا فِي الطَّلَبِ. And be beautiful of what you ask of Him. وَأَجْمِلُوا also means and summarize. Some people, you're allowed to make dua and to be very specific with your dua. But sometimes when people make dua, they don't know how to be beautiful in their dua. They say, Allah, make me pass BTE 9001 and maybe pass BTE 9005, and I want the Golf GTR 200 2022, not 2020. It looks like a fish. And مش عارف إيه. That's not a beautiful dua. That's not a beautiful dua. You can say, Allah, help me pass my exams. Make me a person who's excellent in their studies. Make me a person who is a good Muslim, who helps other people to study. And then you say the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. I ask you for all what's good. عاجله, what will come right away, وآجله, and what will come later. وأعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله. I seek refuge from you for all what's evil, what will come right away, what will come later. وأسألك خير ما تعلم. أعوذ بك من شر ما تعلم. I ask you for what good you know and the evil of what you know. And I ask you of all the good that the Prophet ﷺ asked for. And I seek refuge from all the bad that the Prophet ﷺ asked for. And I ask you for all what brings closer to Jannah, of speech and of actions and of good deeds. And I seek refuge for all what brings to hell, of actions and words and of bad deeds. And I ask you to make everything you have written upon me, to make me content with what you have written upon me. Is there something more encompassing than this? This is what the Prophet ﷺ told Sayyidah Aisha to say when he saw her say, I'm making a lot of dua. He told Sayyidah Aisha, say this dua. It encompasses everything. We end with this beautiful verse. from سورة الحديد. اعلم أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما وفي الآخرة عذاب شديد ومغفرة من الله ورضوان وما الحياة الدنيا في الآخرة إلا متاع. Know that this life is just a game and a distraction. Allah started with لعب وله because when He took you through the whole stages you're going to have in life since you were a baby. When you're a baby, you want to play first. Babies don't like watching TV. They like playing with balls and with toys, and they want to grab your hair and they want to play with anything they see in front of them. When you go a little bit more, entertainment. Lahu. Lahu is entertainment. Lahu can be good and bad, by the way. And lahu in itself is not a bad word, but it's usually used as a negative connotation because a little bit too much entertainment will lead straight away to being oblivious of your duties. So, la'ibun wa lahu. Wa zina. We have zina and zukhruf in the Quran. Zina is beautiful, permissible ornamentation. So when you wear a nice shirt, nice design, nice jacket, nice buttons, nice seams, this is zina. Zukhruf is ornamentation that is basically luxury, too much, that's not needed, that causes envy, that causes one to think that all of life is this. And you always find the Quran that zina is used in a positive connotation. They mean the same thing, but zina is the positive side of it, and zukhruf is the bad side of it. But in one instance, when Allah speaks about Fir'aun, He always says zukhruf, He doesn't say zina. But when Musa spoke about Fir'aun, he said, Allah, you gave them zina. And they didn't use it correctly. He didn't say you gave them zukhruf. That's called adab ma Allah. That's called good manners with Allah. Yeah, you don't tell Allah, you gave them a bad beauty. You don't say that. Allah can say, I gave them zukhruf. I gave them what they think is good, but it's actually bad. But you say to Allah, Allah, you gave them what's beautiful, and they used it incorrectly. You understand? It's called adab ma Allah. Good manners. It's like Sayyidina Ibrahim. When he said, He's the one who feeds me, and He's the one who gives me guidance, and He's the one who makes me, quenches my thirst. And if I get sick, He gives me healing. Allah's the one who makes him get sick. But He doesn't say that. He said, if I get sick, He made sickness attributed to Himself. Adab ma Allah. It's good manners. It doesn't negate the reality. It's adab ma Allah. Wazina. When you start to grow, I remember the first time when I started being conscious of what I'm wearing, I was 6 or 5. I think I was 5. I remember we had guests coming over, and I said specifically to my mom, no, I'm not going to wear this. I want to wear my Buzz Lightyear t-shirt. I remember. I had a Buzz Lightyear t-shirt. I said, I want to wear my Buzz Lightyear t-shirt. Zina, I want to look good. I didn't care at the beginning what I wore. I didn't even know I was wearing. I don't know what I was wearing. But shorts, sleeve, yellow, black, blue, I don't know. Zina. وتفاخر. I got 8 A stars in my O levels, and 2 A's and 1 B minus in my AS level. I got a high GP. I got 3 firsts, top of my class, honors, first class honors, PhD. تفاخر. فخر, being proud. It's not فخر is not a good thing. فخر is not a good thing. بينكم, between you. وتكاثر في الأموال والأموال. I got the job, you got the position, you married the most beautiful girl on the block. But what's next بقى? وتكاثر. Let's increase the money. والأولاد, and children. Let's increase the money, let's increase the children. My son is a doctor, you know. Number 1 engineer in the company. You're fulfilling your own little fakhr in your kid. That's what you're doing. You're just extending the fakhr further. That's what you're doing. You're just trying to find a way to keep on playing the game. And that's it. كَمَثِلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارِ نَبَاتُهُ. Just like a rain that the farmers were delighted to see it. And then it withers. And then you see it yellowing. And then it becomes debris. And then the hereafter is severe punishment and forgiveness from Allah. And His good pleasure. And this whole life is nothing but enjoyment and deception. He's trying to tell you that everything is going to go, but if you use this properly, you will have forgiveness. If you get immersed in it, yani if you're immersed in this process, you will have punishment. But if you use it properly, you will skip the punishment, you get to forgiveness. I have an exercise for you. You don't have to do it in class. We can if you want. We'll just spend an extra 5 minutes if you all are happy to stay 5 minutes. I want you, please, 3 questions. First question is, write down. Everyone get your phones out or your iPads or your laptops. Thank you very much. Write down or describe in 30 to 200 words what dunya meant to you before you took this session. I'm not saying that this session is a game changer, but let's say before these 2 sessions, what did dunya mean to you? You're not allowed to show it to anyone. It's only for you. No one's allowed to see it. Be honest. I'll give you a minute. Next question is, describe in 30 to 200 words what dunya means to you now. That's 2 questions. Describe what close relationships mean to you. You can use verbs or nouns. So think of 1 or 2 very close relationships you have in your life, maybe your mom, your sister, your brother, your best friend, and write what it means to you. When I say verbs or nouns, you might say they are a source of security for me, and you might say they protect me. This is a noun, this is a verb. You can use both just to express yourself. take your time with this. What does Allah mean to you? And that concludes our workshop. سبحانك وبحمدك نشهد لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. We always say this dua, of course, after any gathering, so Allah forgives whatever we've said of mistakes. Thank you all for taking out the time. May Allah reward you for taking out the time and coming and making the effort, despite your schedule and despite the other priorities you have in your life as well. I once asked someone I heard being asked this question, and of course, when it comes out of your heart, you can say it. You cannot give that attribute to Allah, but when you say it, coming out of your heart, it is acceptable. They asked him, "What does Allah mean to you?" And I heard it, and it really affected me. They said, "Allah is everything to me. He's my father, he's my mother, he's my brother, he's my best friend. He's everything to me." And that same person, they said, I only understood the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that Allah is more merciful to the person than their own mother. When I saw my parents, and I never thought they would, because they were spoiled, that they would never treat me ill. When I grew, they were so harsh to me, I did everything to leave the house. All of a sudden. He said, I didn't understand the reality of that hadith until I saw it, and only then did I know Allah did that for me to shift the love I had for my parents to Allah. Because I could not believe that Allah would be more merciful to me than my own parents. This is a person who prays their fivefold. I think that they do wonderful deeds, mashallah. May Allah protect them. I wish I could do like that. But I heard this from a person. So when you're sitting in private, in the quiet of the night, in the darkness of the night, in whatever time is convenient for you, always remember when Shaitan wants to play a trick on you, that Allah is going to get you, Allah is going to do this, what does Allah mean to you? فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Allah asks this in the Quran. فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. What is your opinion of Allah Rabb al-Alameen? Allah asks this in the Quran. But we pass by it as if it's not even there. And Allah asks it for a reason, because He wants us to remember that our relationship with Him is unlike any other relationship. And we shouldn't see Him as a whiplasher. He's not. He just wants the best for us. And this dunya is a great playing field for us to do the best we can before we leave. And fa'lan, Allah does not burden a soul with more than it can bear. I believe this, it is true. And we have to believe this, not because we have evidence, because Allah said it. And Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ قِيلًا وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَدِيثًا. Allah says this. He says, who is more honest than Allah in his speech? And who is more honest than Allah in his telling? Meaning, who is more honest than Allah of what he tells you about the past, qila, and who is more Allah about haditha, about what's being said now? Because some of us, many of us, especially we don't believe until we see things materialistic. We don't see numbers and pie charts and graphs, we don't believe. May Allah help us all to use whatever dunya Allah has given us to make Him content with us. Say Ameen. May Allah help us to make whatever dunya He has not given to us a reason for us to get closer to Him. The Prophet ﷺ made this dua. He said, Allahumma ma razaqtani ma uhib faj'alhu sababan li fima tuhib. Oh Allah, what you have given me of what I love, make it a reason for me to get closer to you. وما زويت عني ما أحب فاجعله سببا لي فيما تحب. And what you have put aside from me of what I love, make it a reason for me to get closer to you. It's as if He's made the road clear for you to reach. No distractions. And may we have the sound understanding of how to approach our dunya. And may we have the sound understanding that dunya, there is no difference between deen and dunya. Dunya is deen is dunya. If you want to prove your allegiance to Allah, you prove it in every single step you are alive. And as I always say, I love this saying, some people say time is money. No, time is deen. Everything you do is deen. Everything. May Allah forgive any mistake of mine. Anything that was said today that was correct is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and any mistake that I've said is from myself and from shaitan. May Allah forgive me and forgive you, and may He elevate you all. And inshallah I'll see you in the next workshop. Hopefully we'll choose dates that are convenient for all of you, because I understand that you have exams coming up. So inshallah we'll choose dates that are more convenient for you all. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum, and see you all soon.